and welcome to 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California. This is Danny Kadota. This is Danny's show, and this is Hall of Famer Pete Demers.
Petey.
You were the trainer for the LA Kings for how many years?
34 here in LA, 3 on the
Wow.
farm, 37 with the organization.
Oh my God, I remember you, Pete, as a little kid, or not a little kid, but I used to go to every Kings game back in the late 70s and 80s, and man, those were the days as far as I'm concerned.
You left early, huh?
Yeah. I don't know. I was there for the Miracle on Manchester, and I didn't leave early.
Dr. Bus left early.
He did. He did. Hey, I thought we would start out the show. We're going to be talking a lot about your trip to the Bay of LA. But let's first of all, Pete, happy Memorial Day. Thank you for your service.
Oh,
when
yes,
were you?
absolutely.
When were you in the armed forces? And tell us a little bit about that.
61 to 65,
Vietnam era.
Vietnam era in the Air Force. I was a jet aircraft mechanic. Had a lot of missions every few days and a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But, you know, every time you go up that ladder, you don't know if it's your last trip or not. You get your parachute on and, you know, but I guess that's the way life is.
Kind of, right?
Every
You
time you
jump
get in
on the
that car,
freeway,
you know?
right? Yeah. But it's a little different when you're at war. It's a lot more of a chance that you may not come
Yeah,
back.
you're right. You're right. Just like Jeff says on the introductory speech, and he'll say, "Don't be walking around on the back deck, or this could be your last trip."
Yeah, that's so true, man. Especially at night, right? You know, you fall overboard, and that's all she wrote.
But it was a great experience to serve in the military.
Did it help you as a young man with your future life in terms of discipline and work ethic, those kinds of
It
things?
helps with everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, positive, sure. No nonsense. You know,
Yep.
job to do, and you do it.
Yep. And you go back to the cemetery every Memorial Day, don't you?
I went yesterday, yeah, to
You
the
did?
National Cemetery. Walk around, just low key. You know, a few tears.
Say a prayer, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Beautiful.
a lot of people didn't come home. You know.
Yep.
So-
That's for sure. I mean, think what, 50,000 people died in the Vietnam War,
Yeah,
something like that.
60,000, yeah.
60, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and Danny, your story is about your father.
Well, yeah, he was in the Air Force too, Phil. You know, and Pete was prior to you, but he was the first actual Japanese American in the U.S. Air Force.
That's amazing.
Prior to that, there was one Japanese man that was a tail gunner in a B-17 in World War II, but it was called the Army Air Corps, and before it switched over to the U.S. Air Force. So we were all proud, and Pop did this tour in Korea, and they got hit. They were in a C-47, getting troops out of a hot zone, and they went down. He spent a year in hospitals. You know, he did say it was the first time I got to see Japan. You know, but he was operated on there, and then they put him on a hospital ship, and all I heard was his belly aching about the hospital ship because he was throwing up the whole time. He said, "This is why I went in the Air Force," you know. And then they stopped at Pearl. He was off at Tripler Hospital for a while. Then they put him back on a boat, came to Pasadena, and he finished, his rehab over there. But yeah, the Air Force guy, and he was the first one.
The thing
in.
is, people don't realize what, the soldiers and airmen and Navy guys and everybody goes through. You know,
Right,
like,
right.
they have no idea. You know.
Yeah, it's amazing. And
absolutely.
especially with Japanese Americans. Oh, yeah, I forgot to wear my shirt. Japanese Americans, this is after the internment camps, right?
Right.
So the thing that is amazing to me about that is the Japanese Americans didn't hold a grudge, really. They just went forward and fought for the country that interned many of them.
Sure. Four of my uncles volunteered from behind barbed wire and machine guns, and they were in the famous 442nd, and one was in the MIS, the Military Intelligence Service. His was even, my Uncle Dick was even a little more dangerous. He was flying in hollowed out B-24s filled with fuel bladders, but they were flying over for extended range. They're flying over the Philippines, and they were the ones that I don't know if it wasn't his unit, but it was their unit that intercepted the message that Yamamoto was going to be in a cargo plane with a fighter escort, and they sent up a flight I don't know if it was P-51s or what it was, but they blew them out of the sky. That's how they got Yamamoto. But yeah, they didn't realize, and that was probably even more dangerous than my dad's all the other brothers going to Europe and fighting, in Europe. But they made our life and our generation easier that they did that they volunteered from behind, our own concentration camps, for God's sakes. Who'd have thought, But they, they forgot, and let it go, and it made life better for us, for our generation. So, we have a lot to be thankful for
Thankful
you guys,
for our freedom.
for all of it, everybody.
I'll just mention that I didn't know this, but my mailman, he's been my mailman for 10 years, Michael. I see him every day, and so he stopped me yesterday when he brought the mail and said, "Hey, I know you're a veteran because I'm delivering your mail." And he said he's a veteran also. I said, "Where'd you serve?" He said, "I was in the Marine Corps. I was a sniper."
Oh, wow.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And after I talked to him, I had tears in my eyes. Like, it's amazing. People don't realize, what we do.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
such a difficult,
Absolutely.
difficult job.
We went through that even, at my tail end, even going into college. I had a number, and if my number was called, I had all my friends said, we'll go up to Canada. And everything. I said, that's easy for you to say. I got my dad and 4 uncles who come up to Canada and beat the heck out of me. So I said, I'd be better off going to Vietnam, But and then the war ended shortly after that. But, I would have had no choice. I would have gone,
But the stories that you carry for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I had a lot of trouble with, I can just say it on here that
Please.
I kept it to myself my whole life. And then I finally, 2 years ago, I went to the VA. And so one morning, it was a Saturday morning, and our planes were lined up, RB-47s. We're in Kansas, that's our home base.
Yes.
And we send planes everywhere, all over the world. And so the guys next to us packed up, and crew chief was Myron Curtis, and we gave him the salute, and they taxied to the end of the runway, and we followed them in a truck. A maintenance truck follows right behind to watch and see if anything's going on, real close. And then you don't get in the jet blast. That goes behind you.
Yeah.
So they rolled down the runway, and they were going and going, and they weren't lifting up, And I'm in the truck, I was 19, and I'm yelling, "Pull up, pull up." Well, that stuck with me for my whole life. I wake up in the middle of the night saying, "Pull up," and he pulled up a little bit, but then he rolled over, and I tried to get out of the truck, and Sergeant Biesmeyer, he don't let them out, He said, "They're gone, nothing we can do." And they were grown men were in the truck with me, like three, my crew chief and sergeants, and they said, "Kid, there's nothing you can do." But now I've gotten some help with it, and I'm accepting it, and I haven't even told my kids about it.
Yeah.
But, like I said, no one realizes what our servicemen do, They come home with a lot of stuff on their shoulders.
Yeah. And for a young man, death like that, you got to know these guys, you knew they had families. Mm-hmm. It's a hard thing to fathom, to accept when you're a young man. It's a hard thing when you're an older guy too, but that must have been very difficult to carry that for so many years.
Yeah. Still, every plane that takes off from LA, I live right next to LAX.
Yeah.
And they told me at these meetings that I should move. But every plane that takes off, I yell, "Pull up, pull up." I'm just saying to myself, and they always do, but that moment is right,
Where did that take place, Pete?
at Forbes Air Force Base, Kansas. Yeah.
What do you know what they do? An investigation and determine what caused that?
Engine failure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, engine failure. One engine failed, and they couldn't get the lift. Plus, these Pratt & Whitney engines were they found out they were too small for this airplane. And it was loaded with all kinds of electronic stuff. They take the bomb bay out. They're bombers, and they take the bomb bay out, and they put 3 seats in there, and then technicians, officers operate these cameras. And we have a 50 millimeter machine gun in the back that's in the tail. So, yeah.
This is what we're talking
Oh,
about.
boy,
This
I'll tell
kind
you.
of heartfelt,
It's-
how
know.
people carry this with them for years and years and years.
Absolutely.
These are our
Absolutely.
armed forces, the men and women in our armed forces who do so much. And has this been cathartic for you the last couple of years to be able to talk about this? It sounds like it's still an emotional thing for you, Pete.
I haven't really sat down and talked to my kids about it yet.
Yeah. And you're sharing that with us tonight, which on Memorial Day, I think, is a beautiful thing. So
What a
that
tribute,
the audience
yeah.
out there
Absolutely.
can
What a
understand a
tribute.
little bit more about what you're talking about. And you, Pete, you're going to stop me when I start saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. You're an exceptional human being. I see you at the soup kitchens, dishing out soup. I see you lending a hand to those less fortunate than us all the time. When I do my Mexico stuff, you call me over to your house and had clothing and shoes and all kinds of stuff. You are a remarkable person who does so much for people out there.
Well, my job, it was 7 days a week, 18 hours on a game day. That's another thing that people don't realize. You
Yeah.
know, you're in there in the morning early, and you're there after the game. Take the gear to the Culver Rink, and
I
take
remember that.
take the jerseys out to South San Pedro Street to get them cleaned. And 2 guys doing that job, and now there's 9. But things are much better.
I'll tell you a story that I've never told you before, but I met you when I was about 15, 16 years old. You're going to laugh at this because I thought it was funny. My brother and I went to the Culver City ice rink. Somebody told us, you go to the ice rink, you can meet the guys. And they're coming off the ice. I think Marcel Dion was there, so that'll give you an idea of when it was. And, hey, can we get your stick? And 1 stick, 2 sticks. We've got like 14 sticks. And then you came and you go, hey, who gave you all those sticks? And I go, the players did. And you looked at me and you said, well, they don't have to wrap them. You had to wrap them. So
I
you
did,
took like half of them, or something like
That's
that.
a great Pete story.
Pete, think about how weird life is. I was 16 years old. Here we are together now. How weird is that?
And we had no budget for stuff.
Yeah.
And
I could just imagine, oh my God, I got to wrap all these other sticks. And these
sticks were $60 a dozen then.
Oh, God.
And now they're $250 just for 1 stick.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Graphite, yeah.
Yeah, I think if I remember guys that were on the team then, I'd say like Donnie Kozak, maybe, what was his name? Whiting? Whiting?
Juha Whiting, yeah.
Yeah, maybe he was there. Maybe Dion, but yeah, it was funny, man. And so you and I go back about, what, 50 years? Something like that? Seriously.
I'll tell you,
How weird is that?
Whiting called me. We're in the hotel on the road. It's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Mean slap shot, by the way.
He called me. He called me and he said, I think I'm having a heart attack.
You mean he was playing for the team?
Yeah, he was playing for the team. Yeah, we
Jeez.
were on the road in the
Yeah.
hotel.
Yeah.
So I went to his room, and turns out he's watching a horror movie, and it got his heart beating.
You're kidding me. That is so funny. What town was that in?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I was wondering.
My memory's good,
Maybe he
it's
was
just
having
short.
maybe he was playing the Flyers that night. And he was having nightmares
Yeah,
about
Philly flew. Yeah.
with what's his name? Dave. What was the guy? He played for the Kings too. He played for the Flyers and was a real fighter. Dave.
I know. Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about? Schultz.
Dave Schultz.
Dave
yeah.
Schultz.
Yeah, good guy.
Yeah, they had all. Yeah, he was.
He wasn't such a good guy when he was playing in Philly.
Oh my
but
God, I know, man. Those guys were crazy.
Dave the Hammer Schultz.
Yep. Yeah, I think he played. Did he play up in Toronto, or he used to have a feud going with Tiger Williams? Or
Yeah.
oh, Dave Hutchison had a huge. Now we're getting inside hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Hutchison had a huge feud with Tiger Williams. Like they would come out at the beginning of the game, drop the gloves, and just go at it. I love that
Mm-hmm.
stuff, man. Those were great games back in those days.
And Tiger Williams, a really fierce guy. You
He
know?
was.
Yeah.
He played for the Kings, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, for quite a while.
yeah.
Yeah. He was a real good guy. He came in one night after the game, and everybody was getting undressed, and he got their attention and brought me out in the middle of the room. I was so embarrassed. He said, "If you guys give this guy any crap, I'm coming after you," he said.
Really? Oh my God. The enforcer's coming after you if you screw with Pete Demers.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so funny.
I have like thousands of stories. I'll tell you another one.
Please. Hey, we're doing a little hockey veterans, and we're going to talk fishing too. But I love the hockey stuff.
So we had a coach, Don Perry. Everybody called him
Don Perry.
Everybody called him Fred. So he called me one night, 9 o'clock. He said, "Come and pick me up at my house tomorrow morning and bring a jacket." I said, "What do you mean? We got practice." He said, "Don't worry about that." I said, "Well, I got to be there to take care of my guys, and so I have an assistant. So Johnny will take care of them." So anyway, I went 9 o'clock in the morning, picked him up, and I said, "Where are we going?" He said, "Just sit in the car, sit still." And so we go down the freeway, down towards Long Beach. We turn off where the blimp is. So we go up to the office. They're waiting for us, a whole bunch of people, and they took us on the blimp. And what an experience that was!
Yeah, was that cool?
And it cool, but the coolest part of it was that players are out in Culver Rink skating with no trainer to look after them. And I'm up in the blimp with the coach, who should be on the ice anyway. You never see that now.
Yeah, no way, right?
Good old days.
God.
Oh my God.
Who were one of your favorite players way back in the day, like in the 80s? Or who was one of the hardest working players? Maybe not the most talented, but hardest working.
No, I'd have to. Like favorite guys that I really got along with great. I get along with all of them.
Yeah.
You know, Jerry Korab, I still keep in touch with him.
King Korab, right? Number 4, as I remember.
Yeah, tough guy.
Yeah, he was tough.
Yeah.
Big guy, too.
But all great guys, you know, and it's because hockey, it's not like basketball or baseball. You just throw a ball out in the backyard and they play. You know, the parents are involved. The togetherness is really involved a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
You drive into a rink at 3 o'clock, at 5 o'clock in the morning for practice, in San Diego for a game, and next day you're in Big Bear with the parents. You know, so the parents are involved, and that's the bonding and the character builder.
Yeah.
So every player that plays at our level has a great character.
Yeah. I won't name the outdoor writer because it might embarrass him, but he told me, man, I would rather deal with hockey players all day long than NFL or NBA players. He said, the hockey guys are down to earth, really good guys. So, and I know a lot of NBA guys who are too, but as a whole, this writer told me NHL players are just really down to earth guys.
Yeah, that's what service providers tell us that, like the crew on the charter, you know, or on any, before we were chartering, they tell us, boy, the hockey players are so much different and so much courteous and kind, and yeah.
Which is kind of counterintuitive because they're such animals on the ice.
Yeah.
But they flip a switch, right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Like Marty McSorley's a classic example of that. He'd keep the bus waiting 10 minutes while he signs autographs and talks to people outside the bus.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great.
Greatest guy. I talk to him every couple of weeks.
Big time enforcer. He was Gretzky's enforcer, right?
Yeah. The greatest guy.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to buy his house, it's for sale for $20 million.
Oh my God. Yeah, let me put a bid in on that.
It's on the Strand in Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Unreal.
How about a guy that I used to like a lot? I saw his first game with the LA Kings, Dave Hutchison.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he dropped his gloves the
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
Somebody looked at him cross-eyed, and he was in a fight with
But
him.
that's perfect classic example of someone that can change like instantly. Yeah.
It cracked me up because you'd watch these hockey guys and they'd be like in a vicious fight, really bad. And then the interview at the end of the game, they said, yeah, that was an unfortunate thing. I really felt ashamed about it. You know, I'm going, I'm not buying any of this, but it sounds good, man, you know?
I remember there was a fan yelling at Marty, and you know, time after time, every shift, and somewhere we were in the road, and Marty finally got up and said, you know what, they paid me to beat people up, so come on, let's go. The guy shut up.
My brother, for whatever reason, we were all Kings fans, my brother yelled at Danny Maloney. He told him to get off the ice when he was skating up, and he took his stick and slammed the glass and told my brother to F off.
By far.
Oh my God, you're freaking dead.
By far, step ahead of everyone else, the most vicious guy, Dan Maloney.
What a great
He had
fighter.
that big helmet.
Yeah. Yeah, and he didn't fight a lot, but when he did, he'd rip guys to shreds.
He's gone now.
He passed away?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, I remember him. They'd play that Irish jig on the organ when he'd get in a fight. I like da 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 da. Yeah, he fought a lot. He was great, man. Those guys, hockey players are great. I was watching a film the other night of when Terry O'Reilly and the Boston Bruins went up in the crowd and started beating the hell out of people in the crowd. And I'm like, oh my God, and I kind of remember those days. I remember somebody reached over the glass and pulled Don Selesky's hair from the Flyers, and they all went up in the crowd too after the guy. Those were great. I don't think you'd see that now, would you? No.
No, maybe you'd have to talk to the management about that, but maybe it's because the money's paid so much money now that you have to have skill, and it's nice to have some fierceness trickled in, but the game's about skill.
Yes.
You can't afford to have a fighter just do that fighting role, anymore.
What a shame.
Yeah.
It was about toughness, though, because all I can remember is these guys are doing it without face masks. We played football.
Oh, yeah.
We had cages and everything else. The hockey guys, you didn't have to look at a cage. You see the teeth missing, you're going, man, these guys are tough.
Yeah, 100%.
So there's so much,
different
there's
level.
a lot going on now as far as protecting the players.
Yeah.
In the penalty, in the press box, there's a spotter. If he sees a guy that's kind of wobbly after a shift, then he's on the headset to the trainer, and they pull that guy off. And if it used to be, we'd say, how many fingers? The guy say 1. You say close enough. Go play. So that's all changed now, and the game is so much better now for the players.
Yeah.
Nutrition-wise, there's a chef. They feed them breakfast in the morning and lunch after practice. You have meals after the game. And I remember, I might have mentioned this before, but I had my review with Rogie Vachon at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And he called me and said, hey, everything's fine except that Robbie Fatorik, he was the coach, he was complaining about you having a sandwich in front of the players, that they didn't have any food, So Rogie said, well, he just put in 16 hours. Don't you think he was hungry?
Yeah, really?
So, yeah, it's all changed now, all kinds of supplements and snacks, and there's a trainer, assistant trainer, massage therapist, strength coach, nutritionist, psychologist.
Yeah.
All these support staff to go along. 9 guys traveling now on the road, and it was just 2 of us.
Wow.
So you can really do your job now with dignity, and the trainer doesn't have to wear all these different hats that we wore in the beginning. But I was real lucky that I could see the full service of full circle of evolution.
Yeah.
And it's so much better. Our game is so much better. And the
It is better
technology.
now?
Oh yeah, like it's better for the players.
Yeah.
The equipment is so much better. The sticks are better. The skates are better. The ice is better. They got guys out there taking the temperature of the ice in between the periods. You see them walking around with their thermometers, and things are so much better now.
Yeah, the ice at the Forum used to be an issue, didn't it?
Well, because the floor was down.
Yeah.
Then they take the floor up and have a game. Couldn't get the ice maybe cold enough.
Yeah.
Or, and then the basketball fans want the rink warmer.
Yeah.
And so there's so much. Yeah.
That went into all of this, right? That people didn't realize.
The only thing constant in life is change. And,
That's true.
Yeah, the game has changed a lot.
That's true.
To the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you? I can honestly say I do miss the fighting. I enjoyed that. I did. I honestly did. So I'm guilty.
Well, from our perspective, we don't like to see it because
Right. Yeah.
so
You gotta
much
deal with
risk of
injuries
concussion.
and-
Yeah.
Sure. Sure.
And they're lifelong lasting.
Yeah. To 100%.
We had one player that he got hit. He was playing in Long Beach, and then he came to us. He couldn't play for 2 years.
He was playing with the Ice Dogs.
He was playing with the Ice Dogs,
Yeah.
but our player, and
Yeah.
he got hit, and he got hit in the shoulder and spun himself around, and concussion. And everybody said, you're all right. Go play.
Yeah.
And
He was
2
never
years he
this-
couldn't play.
Wow.
We had another player that he had to put his foot out of his bed and put his foot on the floor. A real popular player. I'm not going to mention his name,
Yeah.
but he had to put his foot on the floor to get his stability before
Really?
he could go to sleep. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do you? Were you the trainer when Butch Goring got poked in the eye with the skate?
Yeah. That's
So
the
you ran out on the ice? then,
worst
or you-
injury that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awful. I was there that night.
And the eye doctor and myself stayed all night in the hospital with him.
Why don't you tell everybody what actually happened?
Well, what happened was that we were playing the Islanders, and Danny Kadota had the puck out in front.
Great
Of him,
defenseman,
yeah.
offensive-minded
Yeah.
defenseman.
So Butch came up behind him and tried to poke the puck away, and he did a little bit, and so Denny reached for the puck, and when he did, he put the back of his skate up,
Yes.
came right up behind him,
Yep.
and poked Butch right in the eye.
Yeah, I just remember him dropping his gloves and grabbing his
Yeah,
face, and
yeah.
you running out there.
Yeah.
So what happened? He was okay in the
He
long
was
run.
okay, but was kind of touch and go
Yeah.
in his eye yeah.
Yep. I remember Butch, he used to, because we'd go back and watch the players all the time.
Yeah.
He was always so humble. He even drove a car that was like kind of a used old car. And I was like, wow, you know, and it told me that he was like a down to earth guy.
He'd go on the road with one shirt and a toothbrush.
Really? Yeah. And he ended up on the Islanders winning 3 Stanley Cups, I think.
Well, he was on our team in Springfield. I was in the Kings Farm team in Springfield.
Yeah.
3 years, and we won the cup in '71.
Yeah.
And we had to play a game against the Quebec Aces
Yeah.
in the American League.
Yeah.
We had to play a game to get into the playoffs
Oh, shoot.
because we were a low team and they were a low team. We were tied, and then it went into overtime, and he was pretty confident.
Yeah.
We'll say, you
Yeah.
know, that's a mild word. But he went over to the coach of the Quebec Aces, Eddie Bush, and said to him, "You better put your whole team on me because I'm going to score the goal." And he did.
He did?
He did, yeah.
Oh, my God.
He did, and we won in overtime.
That's awesome.
And then we went on to win the cup.
Oh, that is such a great
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
So many great memories, huh?
Oh, yeah, it's unbelievable. And it's so much fun to go to work every day, even after you put in, 18 hours on a game day, and you can't wait to go the next morning.
So Pete, the younger guys like you, and remember we took the Russo's, what was it, a scarab or something over to Catalina, sea bass fish. We had Felix
Felix
Deadmarsh.
Budfan and Adam Deadmarsh. Yeah.
Deadmarsh, and we went over and we just got beat to death on this ride going to Catalina. Sea bass were biting, right?
Yeah.
So the deal was, because it was a friend's boat, Joe would drive it over, then I'll take over once we get to Catalina, and I'll get us in sea bass position, right? So we get over there and we're pounding. I remember Deader saying that was worse than the game, taking that
Yeah,
pounding, right?
yeah.
So we get around the corner and we see nothing but sport boats. So he says, "All right, Joe, get the anchor ready." Well, let me tell you how bad we were panning. We sheared the anchor off.
Oh, my God.
Remember that? And I said, "Well, go get the spare." Well, they had no spare. So, we come around the corner. Here's all the Sport King, all the sport boats. Well, unfortunately, they know me.
Yeah, I know, and they
And-
knew you, yeah.
and
yeah.
so-
and they were
so-
yelling at you.
Yeah. So I couldn't just slide in there. So we just had to wait. I think it was Peterson finally. Jimmy limited out on sea bass. He pulled out. I think we slid along the kelp because we had nothing else to do. We had no anchor. And I think we made one cast each and we were limited. Wasn't it something
Some
like that?
guy yelled from a boat, "Danny, you know better."
Yeah.
But we had no
If I
anchor.
had an anchor, I'd know better. Yeah, I could help you. But, oh my God, fun stuff.
Pete, what's the largest fish you ever caught? I know what it is. It's
Yeah.
impressive.
1,010-pound bluefin, Atlantic bluefin tuna.
That's a pretty good bluefin tuna, man.
That's a keeper.
Well, where was that? When was that?
That was in Cape Breton in 2011, I think. Yeah, Cape Breton Island. The fish come from the Mediterranean or the Gulf of Mexico, and they come up around Nova Scotia, up the tip of Nova Scotia, and down into the bay between Prince Edward Island and Cape Breton Island.
Yes.
65 feet of water.
Oh my God.
And
So
there's
you're chasing these things around, huh?
herring, they're eating herring. They gain 4 pounds a day.
Oh God.
We use 10-0 hooks and mackerel. And you see them on the machine. You can almost pick the one you want.
Really?
Yeah.
And how long did it take you to land that fish?
2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big tuna, man.
Jeez.
But you can't use low gear at all because the water's so shallow that the fish go out. So that instead of having pressure on the rod, you got pressure on the line.
Uh-huh.
So, and we're fishing with 150-pound, 200-pound spectra and 150-pound fluoro in a 10-0 hook. So, yeah.
And do you keep the fish or the boat keeps
No,
the
they
fish,
keep the
don't
fish.
they?
Yeah, they
That's
go to
the deal, right?
They've gone to Japan the next day.
Yeah.
The guy's a friend of mine,
Uh-huh.
Melvin Watts, and I fish with them we always caught fish every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you catch fish similar to that, like 600, 700, 800
Yeah,
pounders?
yeah, sure.
Wow.
And 500 sometimes, not much below 500.
Wow.
So what do you do? Look at our bluefin here and say, those are little babies.
And it's all controlled by the Canadian government. They got helicopter flying around. They see your numbers. They see your permit. And when you leave the dock, you call in, tell them you're coming. You're going fishing. When you get a hookup, you have to call in.
Highly regulated.
When you get the fish in the boat, then when you swim the fish after, you bring them into the boat and put the flying gaff in and let the line back out, a rope, and you tow them for half an hour
Really?
to cool the meat down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they do that.
Yeah,
anywhere
because
else.
otherwise it burns the.
Yeah, otherwise,
the meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you bring the fish back and bleed them out, and then you bring them in the boat, and they take them right into the dock. Because we get our bait a half a mile, right outside the harbor we get our bait, and we start fishing half a mile offshore.
Oh, so you're
Yeah.
literally
It's
fishing
easy.
within a few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll take that fuel bill any day.
Yeah, really, right?
So these
Holy
guys are
smokes.
lobstermen, and they're
Yeah.
lobster fishing now. Season opened
Yeah.
about 2 weeks ago, and they're lobster fishing now. And another 3-4 weeks, another month, probably middle of July, they'll start their tuna,
Oh, okay.
and we'll go into November. Yeah,
And you were recently fishing in Florida, weren't you?
yeah. I go fishing with Dave Gans. He was a player
yeah.
on our team, and
Yeah.
he saw me on Facebook, and he got in touch with me and needed a partner to go with, and so I've been going down to Florida with him probably 3 or 4 times a year. I go to Brantford, where Gretzky's from. That's
Oh,
where
okay.
that's where Dave's from. He was out walleye fishing this morning in Lake Erie.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
And how was your trip to Florida? Did you catch a
good.
lot
Yeah,
of fish?
yeah. We catch. Well, this time we just caught bottom fish, but
Yeah.
they were premium yellowtail snapper
Oh, okay.
and really good to eat. So
Yeah.
we cooked them up.
Oh, that must have
yeah.
been great.
Yeah, it was good.
Where
yeah.
were you fishing?
Bud and Mary's in the Keys.
Oh, okay.
Isle Morada, famous, maybe the most famous marina.
Yeah, I've heard of. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
yeah. So I'm lucky. I talk to Dave every day, and I go up to Canada and fish in the summer. I'm not going now; it's still too cold.
Yeah.
We're going to
June
the Bay
is-
of LA soon, so
That's right. We're getting ready.
We got to
That's
talk
right.
about that, don't we?
Yeah.
You guys want me to read a few comments here?
Sure,
We'll go
sure,
through
sure.
a few
Sorry,
of
guys.
these, because this show is a hit with everybody. Chivo Robledo says, "Good afternoon, gentlemen." Chivo, thank you so much. Sarge says hello. Oh my goodness, we got a fish
Come on,
here.
Mike.
Pete. Look at
Mike.
this. Michael Limon.
Score one.
There you go, Michael. Good job, buddy. We got live fishing for you here, Pete. Scott Buchert says he likes the show so much he sent $30 in to the show. We're gonna split that up
Nice.
later, I guess. And Mad Dog out here says thanks, Scott. Oh, it's for the raffle. Okay, Scott. We thought it was for the show. Cesar Valdivia says happy Memorial Day to everyone who has served our country. Cesar, thank you so very much, Pete. You're one of those great people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, really appreciate that, Caesar. Live free, die free. Afternoon, young men. Hope everyone is having a great Memorial Day weekend. Totally, right? We're all having a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
Memorial. Couldn't get any better than this. And Tim Marquez joins us. Tim, good to see you here. Eric Wood is in Arizona watching the show. He says, afternoon, guys. Hope you are having a great Memorial Day weekend. He's viewing from Eastern Arizona. I believe was a retired firefighter, Eric, and he's dying to come fishing with us. So we're going to make that happen. Get him out here with us one of these times real soon. Scott Buchert says, hello to all of us here. Nice of Scott to do that. Live free, die free. Missed the days gone by, early 70s to 80s. Played roller hockey back in the mid-70s to early 80s. That was me too. Pismo Beach men's team and the Rollerettes, 1977 national champions. Live free, die free. Those were the days, man, when hockey was just getting going.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember going to like big games and there'd be 10,000 people there. That's it.
8,000 sometimes.
Yeah, big games. Like, huge games. And then when I heard that Gretzky was coming, I looked at my brother and everybody and I said, we're screwed. That's it. Our cheap tickets are going down the drain now. And on the one hand, it of course brought Wayne in here, and he did such a great job. But
Yeah.
for kids that were trying to save a buck,
Yeah.
you know, I would go to the games student ID for $2.75
Wow.
in those days. I remember one time, Pete. I'll tell this one story. We were there. It was a Toronto playoff game. We got to the Forum, and it's sold out. It's completely sold out. And I'm like, God darn, there's like 4 of us. And I was watching this guy. He was a Japanese gentleman. He was at the Forum Club. And I go to my brother, I swear he never looks at the ticket. I'm watching this guy. He never looks at it. So they go, all right. And I go, let's buy tickets for Wednesday night's game. And so I go up to this guy and I hand him the ticket, like sweating. He goes, have a great night.
In the front door?
It was at the Forum Club, going in,
Okay,
like
okay.
the front door.
All right.
I don't know if you know the guy I'm talking about.
Sho Yamada.
Oh, there you are. Show didn't look at the tickets, man. Show Yamada. And so we get in there, and we're standing in there, and Ron Maycorn,
Yeah.
he's walking around saying, please take your seats. He was the head usher.
Yeah.
Please take your seats. And I'm like, and you finally find some seats.
Ron is
And you're
gone now, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's another one of my stories sneaking into a game. Let's get into the Bay of LA fishing. There is fantastic right now. When are you guys heading down there, Danny?
The 8th, I think, right?
Yeah, the 8th.
The 8th. Yeah, we'll be down there for six days, almost 7. Yeah.
6 days?
6 days.
And who do you fish with? Do you fish with anybody?
We fish with Fernando Diaz,
Uh-huh.
who's a part of his ancestors were the founding fathers of Bay of Los Angeles. So,
Oh, wow.
You know, he's got the beautiful punga, and he's got everything set for us. He's got the spots pretty well dialed in.
Oh, that's
we've
great.
never missed with him, so he's phenomenal.
What are you going to be fishing for?
We're going to do yellowtail, which last year I think it took 5 casts, and we're done with the beautiful yellows, and just put the rod down. I mean, you know, but cabria, one of my favorite eating fish and fighting fish are the cabria, and they're fun because we fish them almost like a calico bass on steroids. I mean, you fish them like a calico bass until you hook them, and then it's more like fighting a yellowtail. You know,
Yeah.
they're tough. But they're one of my favorite eating fish. And then we will spend a day getting the deep water, the cabria, you know, the baqueta, you know, the big grouper. And
Deep
that
water.
Deep water, and you gotta smoke them off the bottom, otherwise they'll rock you. But that's another one.
Do they process your fish down there?
Oh, no, we do. Well, he processes all the fish. Then we have a system. Steve's got this system down where we bring down our vacuum pack machines.
Oh, great.
We all bring them down. He fillets everything. So when we get back to the dock, it's all filleted out. We go back in. They have freezers put in our rooms. We all bring vacuum pack machines so we can knock it out real quick, label them real quick, pop them in there, and off to the next day. It's
Oh, my God.
It's a great. You told me he's got this thing wired. Pete will tell you when we travel.
Yeah.
With Steve all over the world, he has everything dialed in. I don't care if we're in Vietnam or
Yeah,
wherever.
we went to
we're
Vietnam with Steve.
Yeah.
Guyana with Steve.
Yep. Yeah.
Adventure Travel
Yeah.
Alliance.
Yeah.
Adventure Travel Alliance, everybody. You can Google that and find Steve, and he's got trips
Amazing.
all around the world,
Yeah.
right?
And he
All over the
goes
world.
too. He goes,
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
you really feel like I don't want to make
Secure.
a trip without Danny. You know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how everybody feels about Steve.
Oh, he's got everything dialed in from the safety factor, the protocol, the way you act down in those different countries. You have to have your behavior. You can't necessarily be a crazy American.
Well, you couldn't
You
take
have to
Mike
respect.
Krinkovich down there. I'll tell
Yeah.
you that right now.
Yeah.
Man.
We'll bring duct tape.
He's always sending out little
No, but
notes.
it-
Like today, he sent out, don't forget these sinkers that you need.
Yeah.
And don't forget your sabikis, your Lucky
Making
Joes.
Yeah, this thing.
And,
He's
yeah.
he's on top of it. And he has been for years. And I think we get that blessing. Oh,
John,
yes,
what a
score.
nice
All right,
fish.
there we go.
There we go.
Got it.
Another good one. Good going, John. Yeah, we got the kids fishing here on Memorial Day.
That's perfect. Perfect. But
So-
no, Steve dials us in. He keeps us dialed in on every little facet, whether it's the safety facet, protocols,
All the
how you
places to
act,
eat
do.
and-
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
perfect.
exactly.
Lunches. And
Yeah.
Camping on the beach.
And
Tell
you're
them
gonna
about
do
that.
yeah. Last year we did that. We did a trial camp out on the beach. Pete, it was the most beautiful trip I've ever had in my life.
Really?
And we're all doing that.
We
thing.
go to one of the
We're gonna be
islands.
doing it.
and-
Oh, and camp out?
Oh.
Then we're there in the morning for
Yeah.
the early
Well,
morning bite.
I've told many people over the years, and so when Steve pioneered this, I says, I'm in. Don't even count me in. Let's do it. So when you really think, as a captain, some of your most opportune times to fish and the best fishing bites, early morning and late evening. So when you leave the launch ramp, the first thing you're doing is you're making mackerel. It could take 30 minutes or it could take an hour and a half, 2 hours to fill your tank, right? Then you got to make your run down the island. So you're missing the prime early morning.
Yeah.
And then the fishing's usually so good, we're done by 1 o'clock. You're kicking it for the ramp.
So you're never.
So you don't get that evening bite. So, Steve and I, he knows I'm a fisherman. He says, what if we did it 2 days? I said, well, I'm in. Because knowing that your best opportune times, early morning, late evening, But just that whole trip camping out, we never even took a jacket. My brother caught a cramp, and Steve had these nice little tents with a mesh. Well, there were no bugs. It was beautiful. I had a T-shirt on and short pants and my flip-flops all night, and he and I are looking at the stars, and it's like you could reach out and grab these things. It was so bright. It was just beautiful, So, the only thing that Fernando was going to get, he was going to do some diving and get some scallops for dinner that night. Local, right there on the island.
Great.
So I'm thinking, you know what? I look forward to that trip. I got my 8-dayer, and I love the guys on the Angler, on the American Angler, but it's just different. It's just
totally
different, and it's a great experience, Pete. Right, the food, everything. We eat family style even at the restaurants. It's just such a.
And they pick us up in the morning.
Yeah.
It's just that's really unique.
Yeah.
So you walk out of the gate of the hotel.
Yeah.
The boat's there. You get in the boat, right there on the trailer.
Yeah.
They drive down through the city,
that's funny.
through
I
the
love
town in the boat,
I love that.
back the boat in, so you're already in the boat. It's coming back the same thing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I love it.
How about getting to the Bay? Is this your first trip to the Bay of LA?
I went last year.
Oh,
yeah.
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 How do you get there? So does Steve rent a van? Do you guys drive down there?
Yeah,
or
we
what do you-
drive.
drive.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a
And we-
10-hour drive.
And we
yeah.
caravan it. We take our time, and
We stop for
You
You
breakfast.
guys are in your own car?
Stop for
and
San
we have a
Felipe.
couple cars. We
yeah.
go, we go down in a 2 or 3 car caravan, just for safety.
Yeah,
safety's
yeah, yeah.
sake. But it's nice, and we take our time. We'll have lunch, all the way down. To
Some
whatever we do.
great play.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very simple, but it's nice. The only thing, I guess, there's one section going into Bayville, the last one, that's got some potholes. That's what I was told of. They're shooting me some pictures, so we just slow down. But it's no big deal. We're not in that big of a rush. It's better to get down there nice and safe.
Do you guys go through Mexicali or where do you go? Or do you
Well,
go
we went
down
through.
through TJ?
I've done both now.
Yeah.
I've done both, and I think we're going to go to Ensenada, going through TJ.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Go through and.
We're meeting Steve there. And,
yeah.
In Rosarito?
Yeah.
Or wherever?
Yeah. On the way
Yeah.
down.
That's great.
and then we're going to go over to San Felipe, have breakfast, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Man, I love Mexico. What about you?
I do too.
Oh, I love it. I made
I
10
do, too.
trips down there with my daughter and camping in a different
remember,
spot every
yeah.
night. Yeah.
Yeah, you did
In
some
the
real
Jeep, yeah.
rustic stuff. You were
Down every back road, yeah.
it's such an adventure.
Oh, it is an adventure, yeah.
Yeah.
The freedom,
Yep.
especially I was working then, and then especially after the season, they'll never find me down there.
Pete, we got an injured guy here. Yeah.
Anthony and I just got the Starlink so we can hook up anywhere now with a satellite and do a podcast. And I'm thinking I'm going down one of those back roads and then do a podcast out there,
Wow.
and show people,
Wow.
how great that is.
Yes,
and
it
we're
is.
dying to do.
And the people are just amazing.
Yeah, the people down there are beautiful.
They're just amazing.
Yeah, because Pete, you say that, and so many Americans are like, I'm not going to Mexico. I'm going to get killed down there. I mean, there's danger anywhere you go in the world, but the vast majority of Mexicans are the most loving, giving, wonderful people you'll ever meet, right?
Stay there, just
P's and
Be kind.
mind your P's and Q's, and and Steve keeps us informed. I mean, on a worldwide scale, he knows what's going on. The places if there's anything in question as far as safety factors, Steve will always prep us for it. Let us know you do this, you don't do this. I'll give you one example. Steve was in the driver's seat. The passenger seat with me as I was driving through. And we hit a checkpoint, and the guy says, "Roll down your back window." So I rolled down the window, and I just started kind of looking in the mirror. He goes, "Don't look in the mirror." I said, "Okay," because if you inherently now think about this, if you're an inspector, if you're busy trying to watch him back there, you must, there must be something that you're afraid of that's
Yeah.
in your bags or something. So you don't. You just nonchalantly just look for it, and okay, it rolls it back down. But just little things like that stick in my head, and gaining that type of knowledge is huge.
Oh yeah.
It's huge.
We got stopped
that's
at the border, Anthony and I, the other day by the National Guard right before we went into the U.S. And they had us get out of the car, and then the guy sees we have fishing rods. He goes, "Oh, I love fishing." I go, "Yeah," we started BS. Next thing I said to him, I said, "Hey, can we get a photo together?" Guy with a big gun and everything. And he goes, "Not supposed to." And then his other guy goes, "Just do it behind the car." So we went back. Really cool photo, man.
That's awesome.
And then he takes his phone out and goes, "What's your YouTube channel?" And he subscribed.
Yeah.
It was great. It was really
That's
cool,
awesome.
man. So yeah, I've had I'm not the most this is the understatement of the year. I don't know how to fix anything. I don't even know how to change a tire, most of the time. And I've had situations where I'm in trouble with my car, and you appeal to some guy going by, a Mexican guy, boom. They'll figure out.
Yeah.
I don't care what the problem is.
They are good.
I always have confidence that A, I will screw it up, and B, they will figure it out. They'll figure it out. I don't
They
know
are
how,
good.
but they'll take you to somewhere where there's used cars and get a part or whatever it is. They will fix it. I had a flat tire going into a town, and my wife says, "Do you know how to change a tire?" I said, "Of course I do." I walked to the back with a $20 bill. Guy going by on a bike. I go, "Senor," boom.
The guys from the
Change
tire shops, they throw the nails out in the road. But I borrowed Mario Goslin. He was a goalie.
I remember
and
mine.
he,
Jocelyn.
He gave me his Jeep for the summer. I said, "I'll just keep it at my house."
Yeah.
And he said, "If you want to drive it, go ahead." So Amy and I went to Florida, to Baja in that. And he had that Jeep in Quebec. And we went to the Vizcayano Peninsula. It's 60 miles down that dirt road from the hard road. And all of a sudden, the car quit. The battery fell out, was in that holder, and it fell out.
Oh my God.
So a guy came along and gave me
Michael Limon with another fish. Let's see it.
Man, a big man
Thank you,
attack.
Michael.
and another guy came along and gave me a ride to the parts store, and I got a battery. Amy stayed with the Jeep, and somebody else drove me back. And yeah, there's people help you
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always
You
had
find
great-
that too,
Always
Danny?
had great experiences. Never had a bad one. And knock on wood, but we've been very blessed, And I think, having the respect and treating them, being friendly and treating them nice is all you can ask for. But they've always been tremendous. Never had a bad experience.
Albert Ponce is a guy that's always down there in Baja California. He says, "Good afternoon and happy Memorial Day to everybody watching." Thank you
Absolutely.
so much. Albert, great win on the rail rod too last week. Pete, what did you enjoy most about the Bay of LA last time we were there? Was it everything or the fishing or?
The ease of operation, like everything is greased so perfectly by Steve, The freezer, the guys bring their vacuum packers, and your gear.
It's organized
You're
well.
in the boat.
Yeah.
You're fishing close. You don't have 4 days running,
Yeah, I know, right?
But that's still fun, 4 days running. On the Indy, I made many trips. And
you got the hat on
yeah.
too to prove it.
Yeah, that's right. And but the ease of the whole, then you're home in the day,
Yeah.
So, yeah, everything is perfect. But Steve does a lot of homework on it.
Yeah.
And fishes all over the world. He's got some people going to Congo with him in July.
Wow.
Judy and Larry, they're.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I'm going to ride with them down to Bay of LA.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, my neighbors. But he fishes in New Guinea. He goes everywhere, and he has people flying in from China and to fish with him. And,
Wow.
worldwide.
It is fun.
Amazing, huh?
And Guyana and Brazil. Danny's been to Brazil with
Yeah.
him.
Oh, yeah, several times. Yeah. And we did that trip to Vietnam with them.
Yeah.
And that wasn't for fishing. We
Yeah.
took the ladies with
Oh,
us.
you guys just went to
Yeah.
Vietnam.
Oh, we had
I
a
love
blast.
Vietnam.
Yeah. Vietnam, Cambodia,
Cambodia.
and then a
Yeah,
quick stop.
yeah.
We did a quick stop in Japan for not that long, but I mean, it was it was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, and you just knows these deals. I mean, Pete, tell you, there's 8 of us, right, Pete? We had a full-size bus. Like one of the RTDs for 8 of us.
Yeah.
Remember? And in Saigon, And I remember one of our friends, Norm, who was a famous, notorious LAPD motorcycle cop. We put him in the seat, riding shotgun with the bus driver there in Saigon, and the millions of people crossing with bikes and stuff, and the bus is just plowing right through. It's just,
Oh my God.
it's amazing to see. We should have filmed that.
Man, I heard Mark Sonata out there making all kinds of racket. He should have come in here. We want to see him. Tell him to get his butt in here when he. Yeah. Food in the Bay of LA. How's the food?
Steve has that greased also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tells us where we're going to be going. Calls ahead of time. They prepare
Yes.
everything. Yeah.
This gal Ruth has a huge building. I think
Ruth?
there's 4
I know Ruth.
big tables.
Yeah.
And she'll serve one dish a night or whatever, but whatever she makes, that's what you eat. And it's always phenomenal. But what's better is this panoramic view, isn't it, Pete? The view of the bay is just, it's breathtaking.
Breathtaking.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, trusted with Steve with traveling, he does his homework on everything. So,
How do you like the cabrilla fishing there? Do you like fishing cabrilla? What's your favorite species? Would it be yellows or cabrilla?
I like the mix. you
Yeah,
know.
right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Right.
Catch the yellows for a while, and then you go do something else. I love casting into shore.
Yeah. So cabrilla fishing is fun
That's
for you,
my
right?
striped bass history from
Yeah.
Rhode Island.
Yeah.
So, yeah, with the jigs, that's fun.
Yeah, you guys are fishing what, like stick baits when you're fishing?
yeah, for the cabrilla, I am. Yeah.
How
That's
big
pretty
does
awesome.
cabrilla get in that zone?
Oh, they get pretty big.
Yeah,
they get to
right?
pushing almost 20 on some of them.
Oh, my
Some
God.
of them we released some big ones because they were females, and that's what and that's the nice part too, is when they are, if it's a female, it's laden with eggs. Yeah, let them go. Why would you? We're not going to kill that.
Yeah, right.
And we were blessed last year, my brother. We got into them really well. We ended up with 95 that day, and I was dying, and I said, I'm done. And a couple minutes later, my brother quits. And Steve, you told me yelling, 5 more. We need 5 more to hit 100. I said, I'm done. Well,
You guys are tapping out.
well,
huh?
yeah. Well, then when we got home, I got my shoulder X-rayed. Gary, my doctor, goes,
Mark, get in here a second. Do you guys know Mark
Yeah.
from the Amigo? Come in
Yeah.
here.
What's up?
Come over here and say hello.
Not me, man.
Hey, come on. I want to get you on camera here. Mark Sonata from the Amigo.
Hey, Danny's too tall for me, bro.
Well, that's the first time I ever heard that one.
Right.
You the man. You the man. Hey.
This is my boy Danny right here.
Boy, I like that.
We go way back.
Come here. Mark, good to see you, man.
See you, Bill.
What do you got going on? Are you leaving on a trip?
We got an overnight charter tonight.
All right, well, have fun.
All right, go get him, man.
Always have fun, man.
Go
Catch
get
some
him.
pescados.
All right, man. I seen that bloomer report. That looks tasty, boy.
Oh,
Look
man.
at that.
Those are big fish now.
Excellent, dog.
Hey, Mark Sonata, everybody from the Amigo. You can't meet a better guy. He's funny. He's picking on your height, though, Danny. I wouldn't put up with that.
I've dealt with it
Stand up.
all my life.
How about the drive down there? Do you look at the drive as, oh my God, a 10-hour drive, or do you enjoy the drive?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, we enjoy it. We take
So
our
much
time.
to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And you've seen it before, but it's just
Every time it changes constantly. Yeah.
Do you guys feel the same way I do? A lot. Oh, another mackerel. We gotta see
Oh.
this, John. Good job, buddy. Give you a close-up,
Nice.
personal view.
Good job.
When I go across the border, I just feel this relief.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, we're in Mexico. This is so great. You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I say to my kids once in a while, I'm dying for I need a dose of Mexico. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. It's so
Yep,
great. And
absolutely.
I think now Anthony here, he's sitting here, he hadn't been for a while, and then we've made a couple of trips, and he feels exactly the same way. If I said to him, let's go to Mexico tonight, he'd probably say yes, wouldn't you? Yeah, he shakes his head yes. I know. Because it's such a great place, and the drive is great. I gave my kids the choice years ago. Do you guys want to fly down to the East Cape or drive down? And for kids, that's a long drive. They would always say drive because they wanted to surf fish San Quintin on the way down, and they wanted to hit this,
Yeah.
and they wanted to eat a fish taco, and everything that is a part of Baja hospitality. Danny, right?
Absolutely. He experienced the whole deal. I mean, that's, when you get in the whole 9 yards, there's nothing better.
Yeah,
You
I know.
particularly for kids. They could respect that. They see how, another country lives.
Yep.
And if anything, they should be blessed for what they've got here, too. That also helps.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great learning experience for kids to
exactly,
see some of that poverty if you happen to go by that. Because I don't think kids nowadays realize how fortunate they are here in this country. Do you, Pete?
No, that you're right. They don't.
Good stuff. We've been chatting for an hour. Are you kidding me? We're
Wow.
coming to an end of this show. I don't want to end this, but we're getting close. Anything else you guys want to say about Bay of LA? What do you do tackle-wise to get ready? Do you...
I believe it or not, for the guy that loads up, I'm probably taking 4 rods max for
Really?
outfits. One is a backup. Normally, I think I'm taking the Baqueta rod, which is fishing the 80, 100. Because you gotta get these things off the bottom. They'll put their heads down. You got to put the screws to them. And I got that. I've got a yellowtail rod, for fishing. I can throw yo-yo jigs, or I could throw a mackerel with it. Okay, and then my 30-pound outfit, and everything's 2-speeded, even that little accurate 1000. Excuse me, is it 1,000? It's the little one. Why am I drawing a
500.
blank? Yeah, and I've got that loaded with 65 braid and the top shot of 30, and that's what I throw all the little stick baits with, and that's mainly for the Cabria. Although I've landed, Phil, you saw me with that rod fishing on the Freedom.
Oh, yeah.
That little 30-pound stick was what I did all those nicer tuna with too.
Yep.
So, it's got the capacity for it. Yeah.
Good. And how about you, Pete? How many rods are you bringing?
Same as Danny.
Like 4?
In fact, I brought all my gear to Danny's house.
It's over at the
and,
house. Yeah.
I'm an East Coast fisherman. I'm still trying to learn.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Oh, he picks it up quick.
If you
Yeah,
don't
you've
learn,
been fishing for years, man.
yeah, but if you don't learn something every day, you're not working hard enough.
That's right. Whether it's hockey, fishing, whatever.
Pete, I can remember the first time I met you. It was at the forum, and Toyo, it was a morning skate. And I remember Toyo Shimano saying, "Hey, you want to go see a morning skate?" I wasn't a hockey guy for the most part. But my partner, Ken Weeby, he was really into it, And so we went down. That's when we met you that one morning for a morning skate before the game. And I think we came after to see you. But I saw Toyo at a concert with Kenny
Oh, you
Loggins.
said that recently, right?
Recently. And so I'm going to have him come down here. I told him, I want you to come down.
We should get Pete to come.
Pete, yeah, we'll
too.
get Pete. We'll arrange it with you and Toyo and I. We'll come back here. That'll be a good one too. That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Chivo says, I miss the old school purple and gold uniforms with the king's crown in the front of the jersey.
Me too.
Do you?
Yeah.
I do too,
that's-
kind of.
I love that.
Yeah.
Why do you miss it? It's just nostalgic? Or?
That's the history of our team.
Yeah.
Old school.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you remember that?
I remember those jerseys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too, man. That was something else. When did the Kings come into the league?
67.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So my mother, when I was in, it was like the late 60s. I was in grammar school. She wrote Jack Can't Cook a letter and said, my son's having his birthday and I'd really like to expose the kids to hockey. I'm a girl, I grew up in Chicago, went to the stadium. He sent 50 tickets. And so I took my whole class to a game, and my mom standing there at the snack bar and paying for everybody's popcorn and everything. But she got the tickets. Jack Can't Cook sent her the tickets.
He's a pretty unique guy.
Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
think it was the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm sure it was, as a matter of fact. That would have been like 68, something like that. So I was 10 years old.
I
And
told this story before, but he had a sore back, so I was treating him. And so he said to me one day, he talked like this, "We are going to sign Magic Johnson." I said, "Oh, that's good, Mr. Cook." I didn't know who Magic Johnson was. I never went to a Lakers game ever. Kobe Bryant told me, "Pete, when you want to go to the game, I'll give you my tickets." I never went to the Lakers game.
oh, you didn't?
No.
Kobe told you that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, that's
Did you know Kobe very well?
Well, not real well, but
Yeah.
we were next door neighbor. We were
Right.
right there. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Folks, it's been an incredible show. Danny,
You got it, Philip.
thank you so much. Pete, you've been fantastic. Let's wish everybody a happy Memorial Day. I'll start with you, Pete. Go ahead.
Happy Memorial Day to all of you, and thanks to all our veterans for their service, and God bless those that gave it all.
I can't say any better than that, Pete. You know, my uncles served in World War II, and my dad did Korea, and you know, I was the only one that I was. Should Vietnam would have come up, I would have gone. I would have had to. They would have beat. I would, you know. I had friends that say, "Hey, we'll go up to Canada." I go, "That's easy for you to say." My uncles would come up and get me, and I'd take a worse beating. I'd rather go to Vietnam. So, but thank you for all those that have served, and we appreciate that. So, happy Veterans Day for everybody else.
Same for me.
Yeah.
Thank you for the sweet gift of freedom. We deeply appreciate your sacrifices and keep you all in our thoughts and prayers. God bless the United States of America. Thanks, guys.
You got it.
Take care, everybody.